Hello YouTubers! I thought it was about time to do a final thoughts on the Toshiba S30. Now this is a bit of a weird video for me because there were a few things that impressed me, but it didn't really wow me, to be honest. The Play Sport knocked my socks off and the Play Touch knocked one of my socks off, so I was really chuffed for those two cameras. With this, it might have pulled me socks down, but it didn't blow them off. If you get what I mean. So, I mean, there was a specific reason for me getting this. Basically, it was to help me out with my green screening. So that's the only reason why I got it. But I thought I would do a final thoughts video just to give you guys an idea of what I think of it, and to help you guys to decide whether it's worth you getting it or not. I do apologise that I haven't done more videos with it. I am hoping that when the weather is nicer to get out and do some 720p and 1080p videos with it, just so that you guys can see what the picture quality is like in relatively decent lighting conditions. But for now, what I'll do is sort of give you the spec rundown and then tell you what I think of it. Toshiba Camileo S30. It's got a 3-inch touchscreen. It has 3 different sets of effects which have 4 different settings within each effect setting, if that makes any sense. So you've got 4 lots of scene settings, 4 lots of filter settings, and 4 lots of white balance settings, which is quite useful. It's got a light button which gives you flash and backlight, which I'll talk about a bit more in a minute. Image stabilization. It has a motion detection on it. I'm not really sure how that works yet. I'm still sort of getting my head around that. But basically I think it's when you move in front of the camera, it starts to record. It has a pre-record, which really blows my mind, because it starts to record about 2 seconds before you press the record button. How it does that, I've got no idea. It has a time-lapse, continuous play, slow motion, which I'll talk about a bit more in a minute. The screen resolution settings for the video are 1080p, 720p, 60 and 30 frames, and VGA. The effects that you get and the light effects that you get work both in the video and the stills. The stills on it, the resolution settings are 16 megapixels, 8 megapixels and 3 megapixels. It's got a self timer. You can change the ISO to either 800 or 1600, or you can have it on automatic. It has a slideshow feature. You can turn the sound off. The zoom is the same in the video as it is in the stills, and it goes up to 16 times. It has a live feed record, and you can use the HDMI lead and the AV lead to do live feed record, which is really useful. It has a mains charge facility on it, so that you can hook up the mains and record at the same time, which is really groovy. You've got a YouTube button on there, which I haven't really tested at the moment. Also, there's a pause button as well, which I didn't know. Which is really handy, because I know some of you guys like to have the pause function on your cameras. It's got great accessories on it, which is really cool. There you go. So that's a sort of quick rundown of the spec. There may be a few things that I've missed out there, but that's the basic gist of it. Right, so the good and the bad points now. The good points. Battery life is relatively okay. It's about the same as all the other Pocket HD cameras, to be honest. The light button I really like. The flash is reasonable, but the backlight, the digital backlight on it, I really do like that. Okay, the quality could be a little bit better, but when you stick that backlight on, it really does make a difference, and I think it does improve the low light. If you're in a real low light situation, sticking that backlight on really does help, so I really appreciate that. The macro, it has macro. You can use the full zoom with the macro. I don't think you can use the macro without the zoom at the same distance as the Kodak. I think the Kodak you can get a little bit closer, but the macro is still pretty good, and on that 16 times zoom with the macro you still keep the quality, which is really groovy. The video quality, I'll talk about that in a minute. The 1080p I thought was relatively decent. Not as good as the Play Touch or the Play Sport, but it is better than the Panasonic and the ZI-8, I think. The sound, I was really impressed with the sound. Being able to pick my voice up by the green screen was really good, I thought. So it sort of compensates for the amount of stuff that you get in the picture. That sort of brings me on to the downsides of it. The amount of stuff that you get in your picture isn't as much as what you get on the Play Touch or even the Play Sport. I think even the ZI-8 you get more in your picture than you do with this, which was a little bit disappointing, to be honest, because it meant that you have to sit further back. But like I said, the mic does compensate for that, so it's not too much of a biggie. Another thing that I felt let this camera down with it was its quality. Now, the video quality is nowhere near as good as the Play Touch or the Play Sport. It does do a relatively decent job, and hopefully when I get the daytime shots out we'll be able to see what it's like in the daytime, but I did think that it sort of lacked a little bit of oomph as far as the quality was concerned. No WVGA. Now, I do like me WVGA, so I was a little bit disappointed that it only had VGA. And lastly, I think that the slow motion was a huge disappointment. And the time lapse, you could put that on any setting and it would work. You know, you could have it on 1080p or 720p or VGA, and that was groovy. But with the slow motion, it was zoomed in and only on VGA, which I thought was a huge disappointment, because it meant that you couldn't you couldn't take video of things that were close up to you. You'd have to have them sort of about 30 or 40 feet away just in order to be able to get their head, which I thought was a little bit disappointing, to be honest. If you're going to do slow motion, you're going to want to do it on HD. You're not going to want to do it on VGA. So that was a little bit disappointing. What do I think of it? Well, like I said at the beginning of the video, it didn't knock me socks off. But then I wasn't getting this to knock me socks off. This camera wasn't to replace my main cameras. My two favourite cameras at the moment are the Play Touch and the Play Sport. Having used the Play Sport again and done some more videoing with it, I sort of like it better than the Panasonic. But this camera was never to replace any of my main cameras. It was I only got this so that I could so it would help me to do my green screening a bit better. It is a good flip out camera, pistol grip camera. There are better ones out there, to be honest. If the Sony Bloggy CM5 had mains charge and live feed, then that would be better than this. The Bloggy's quality is better than this, but the accessories and the amount of effects and settings that you get on this makes it better than the Bloggy. I think if you want a pistol grip type camera and you're looking for a lot of accessories and a lot of ways that you can customise your videos, then the S30 would be the one for you. If you're looking just to do YouTube type videos, then I would say have a look at the Play Touch or the Play Sport. Okie dokie, that's enough from me. Hope this has helped, and any questions please ask away. Hope you're having a good day, and I'll do some more later on. Bye bye for now.